Well, today I want to introduce you guys to these two books that have just really supported me in what I'm thinking, pursuing, and if there's anyone basically searching for a more meaningful life, more meaningful career, whether that's changing your mental mindset or attitude, or maybe your perspective on different things, and maybe setting your priorities a bit straight, I recommend these two books. So first off, this is by Sahil Bloom. It's called The 5 Types of Wealth. We all know wealth is wealth. And I have a long list of financial books that I would love to recommend, including The Rich Dad, Poor Dad. For me, I feel like The 5 Types of Wealth was one that really spoke out to me. When you read the prologue, you won't be able to just close down the book. That's how it was to me. So the 5 types of wealth he does talk about is time, social, mental, physical, and financial. And of course, yes, we know all about financial, but all of these 4 things are kind of things that I had considered to be just like side dishes, while the financial part was my main dish. But a job isn't actually all that simple. And not just jobs, but just in life general. You're going to be in your 10s, 20s, early adulthood. In your 30s and 40s, you might become a more advanced in your career, or you might develop into parenthood. In your 40s and 50s, that's when you'll probably be taking care of more of your physical and mental health rather than time and social. So in different stages of our life, our priorities change, and it's so necessary that we adjust our life, we change our paths, we make adjustments to basically transform and design our life into the life that we want. And when you're giving up something, you gain something else. Everyone wants to have money, everyone wants to do what they want, everyone wants to follow their passion. But at the same time, everyone does have a social responsibility in working. By quitting my job a few months ago, yes, I lost access to some of my financial, but I did gain something else that's just immeasurable: time. And I think this basically sums up a good balanced life that we must lead on in terms of just freedom, time-wise, to spend the time that we have with the people that we want to whenever. And having a healthy, loving social relationships. We are, in general, social people. And I think at work, supporting colleagues are really all that matters, because even if your work is hard, when you have great people around you, it's like the load is just lighter, and even if you feel swamped at work, you have people who are going to support you in the long run. And if we look at the mental stage, I think this ties all together with kind of like our sense of purpose in life. The 4th one, as I kept emphasizing, being strong, having a good stamina is really what is going to get through you to the rest of your life. I find that a lot of people don't really recognize that a lot of the habits they do today, drinking, smoking, staying up and like pulling all-nighters, yes, it won't affect them in a week, in a month, in 5 years. But what people don't realize is they're gonna reach older age later on. They're gonna be 60, 70, 80, 90 years old, and being healthy at 90 versus being in the hospital at 90, it makes all the difference. And I feel like everyone should kind of like be remembering of memento mori. One phrase that I really liked here was, treat your body like it's a house that you're going to live in for 100 years. And I mean, think about it. When you're at an apartment, you kind of clean less, you take less care of things because you know that it's not in your possession. But when you're actually moving into a house, the smallest leak that you'll see, crack or bugs, pests, they're all gonna affect you one day, and you know that it's more easier and wiser to fix them up early. And so I think it's the same way with our bodies as well. Fixing all these minor things as we go. If our back hurts, don't strain it, give it some rest. If something doesn't feel right, go to the hospital. So all of these best practices, I feel like, is one of the ways to lead a healthier, stronger body into the future. And of course, the last one, being financially supportive of the life you want. Some people may need more money than others compared to where they are, where they live, what kind of things they like doing. And so I guess finding what your enough life is kind of the goal of this book, and helping you to really gauge all of that in different stages of your life. The next book is The Defining Decade. Yes, it does say why your 20s matter and how to make the most of them now. And I don't think it's all just about the 20s. I feel like it's applicable in a lot of ways, but the author does focus more on the 20s 20s because things have changed. So when we're looking at our grandparents' stages in life, they were already mothers. They were already taking care of their household, feeding little kids, taking care of business, and so on. And I also admit, 20-something-year-olds these days are not always that case. It was a very intriguing read, and basically she does talk about a lot of different cases of her clients and really analyzes the period of the society now, the mentality of 20-30-year-olds these days, and common phenomena that have been popping up. The book does kind of talk about career in one section and love in the other. And by career, it's like this. In their high school, in college, they graduate as valedictorian. And out of college, they're just like, I don't know what to do. This one guy, Ian, had basically said, I feel like I'm just floating in the middle of the ocean. I look at all four sides of me and I could swim, but I just don't see any land and I don't know which direction to swim towards. Wow, this described it so well. I even felt like that at certain points in my life. And he does talk about commitment, putting in hours, being good at what you do, because an amazing life in your 30s doesn't just pop up. It basically builds on top of what you do inside your 20s. And I feel that's kind of what he's getting into. Things just don't happen by chance. Like, you have to put in the effort, and you also need to be really more aware of what you want, what you are going through, and how very trivial things can actually lead to great impacts. Like a weak tie, like some acquaintance that you barely know, can actually get you a job, can actually get you a career, can actually put you through the next steps. In the second latter half, he talks about 20-year-olds not marrying, and I feel like this is so common around me. People just date for 5, 7, 8 years. They end up living together, and in the end, they just break up because they are no longer ready for that commitment, or they've just changed so much. I completely agree with the statement. Marriage is not a guarantee, it is a commitment. And that commitment, sure, it's not going to be easy. One yes at the altar, it's not going to keep it forever, but it's your attitude, it's your commitment mindset that needs to go all in to make the marriage work. The stories inside here are so practical. It really even overlaps or reflects on some of my friends' stories as well. The book does a really good job in really showing how the 20-30s are having a difficult time through career, work, finances, love. Even with all this anxiety, uncertainties, the next step that we make, that's really going to define who we are in the 30s, 40s, 50s, and the life that we want to live. And let me know if you have any other books that you would love to share. Bye.